The flames. History's greatest secret and key to a future where ships travel lifetimes to bring flames to new worlds. Those who dare to walk the fire can cross between the stars with a step if you can find a ferryman and pay your way across. For most who brave the flame alone are lost forever. May the ferryman take you. Sterile Oceans Part 3. Story by Harry Connelly. Narration by Tobias Queen.
I'm not a candidate for reviv. I'm faulty. Emerald gaped at him. I'm dying. Emerald's voice was quiet. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Roscoe shrugged. The words had come out as though he'd longed to speak them. Oh well, there was no turning back now. My alleles can't be stabilized. The onset of senescence is inevitable. And this is how you act. Emerald swept her arm toward the fairy folk. By making a pass at a child? She's going to void my contract. He was suddenly angry with her. And it felt good. Oh, please, she's not a child. Did you hear her talk? No one has used the word years for almost 200,000 days, not since the diplomacy cut ties with Earth origin. She's probably older than either one of us. Emerald turned to Naoma as if expecting her to deny it. The fairy folk shrugged. Actually, he's understating things. By the way you figure it, I'm more than 500,000 days old. As far as Roscoe was concerned, the argument should have ended right there. See? It was just an ask. But you took out insurance? For money? She curled her lip as though it was a dirty word. Oh, Roscoe, is this why you haven't been doing the scrubbing? His anger evaporated into weariness. I do the scrubbing. Sweetie, you know what would happen if the inside of the dome became compromised? All my work, my whole project. Do you know how hard I worked for this? Okay. Naoma stepped between them and took the moneymakers from Emerald. There's no reason for me to hang around listening to you two argue about money. I'm not talking about money, Emerald said with real venom. I'm trying to become affluential, not affluent. Totally different things, I'm sure. Naoma glanced back at Roscoe. You're not that old, are you? How much longer do you have? Roscoe didn't like the look she was giving him, but he answered, maybe 25 or 26,000 days. What's that, 70 years? In some places in the galaxy, right this very second, 70 years of life would be a blessing for a newborn babe. The memory clearly bothered her. So am I taking you out of here? She turned to Emerald. Am I taking him out of here? Emerald didn't answer right away. Roscoe said, I need this contract. My family needs it. If I were planning any kind of sabotage, I would have done it already. The only answer Emerald gave was to fold her arms across her breasts and shake her head. Well then, Naoma started toward the fire. I leave you to your plastics, your slowly collapsing dome, and your ghost whale songs. How do you do it? Roscoe said. He trailed behind her, standing a safe distance away but anxious for an answer to his question. He was living under a death sentence, and still his life seemed so tedious. How do you keep on living? Is it about learning new things? There's always more to learn, you said. Is that it? Naoma glanced at him, and her expression told him he didn't understand at all. She glanced at Emerald next, with just a brief frown of disappointment. Then she shut her pack and disappeared into the fire. I want you to do the fucking scrubbing, sweetie, right now. Emerald glared at him, and her anger just made him feel even more tired. I did it yesterday. Well, do it again. Correctly. Oh, and let's not have another ask for, 20 days. Get me? Gotten. He returned to his neglected scrubbing equipment while she stalked back to her lab. 20 days? Emerald and her creative mind were never getting another ask again. The scrubbing took a long time, cutting well into his sleep cycle. But he did it, and he did it with care. The inside of the dome was spotless when he returned to his room and dimmed the lights. Emerald was in her quarters, certainly sound asleep. Roscoe took his care parcel from beneath his bed. When he'd first arrived, he brought a jar full of pale yellow crystals in his luggage. They were pretty and tested as inert, so they had passed inspection, sitting on his dresser like a poor man's ornament, for 650 days. As he cut the parcel open, he hoped this time, finally, his family had sent the second jar he'd given them. Then he could combine them in that steel bowl and create a corrosive plume that would fund trade school tuition for a whole generation of his nieces and nephews. They hadn't. Instead, the parcel contained another zip sack of raw sucra nuts, a stack of crude children's drawings, and a video message from his gram, wearing her threadbare cloth, telling him that she loved him and that more than anything else in the world, she wanted him to return home safely.
Walk the Fire by John Miro. Learn more at servingworlds.com. Theme music, Full On by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com.